You probably know the feeling. You are staring down a massive, high-stakes decision, and the pressure is so heavy that you completely freeze. You can't move forward, and you can't go back. Thousands of years ago, the ancient text known as the Bhagavad Gita captured this exact human experience through a warrior named Arjuna. He is standing in the middle of a massive battlefield. The war is about to begin. But as he looks across the lines, he realizes the enemy army is filled with his own family members, his childhood friends, and the teachers he deeply respects. This page from the English translation shows exactly what happens to him. He is described as being overwhelmed with pity, his eyes filled with tears, agitated and full of sorrow. The sheer weight of what he is about to do physically breaks him down. Looking a few pages ahead, we see the absolute peak of his panic. Arjuna puts down his weapons. He tells his charioteer, Krishna, "I will not fight," and then he simply stops talking. It is the ultimate human trap. We become so afraid of making the wrong choice, so terrified of the pain our actions might cause, that we paralyze ourselves entirely. A typical general might scream at a soldier who drops his weapon, but in this verse, Krishna does something entirely different. He simply smiles. He follows with a sharp reality check, stating, "Wise men do not sorrow over the dead or the living." Krishna is zooming Arjuna out from the chaos. He's pushing him, and us, to step back from the immediate panic and rethink what life and death actually look like. To explain this, Krishna introduces a foundational idea. Here in the text it says, "The soul is never born nor dies." He is arguing that the absolute core of who we are has always existed, and therefore it can never be destroyed. Think of it like this. Every human seamlessly transitions from being the young child to a mature adult, and eventually into old age. The outer shell constantly changes, but the core person experiencing it remains the same. The Gita views the entire physical body as just another one of those temporary phases. This translation gives us a very clear, practical analogy. It compares our physical bodies to our wardrobe. When clothes get old and worn out, you simply take them off and put on new ones. Because of this, that inner core is totally invulnerable. You can expose it to extreme heat, submerge it in water, or strike it with heavy weapons, and it remains completely untouched. If you accept that your true self is indestructible, the stakes of the physical world look very different. The tragedies and losses that feel so overwhelming to Arjuna right now are temporary. They are real, but they do not touch the core, and so they shouldn't dictate his choices. If our bodies are just a changing set of clothes, the pain we feel right now still feels very real. It is hard to ignore a physical injury or a deep loss just because we are told they are temporary. Krishna answers this by describing our physical sensations, heat, cold, pleasure, and pain, as fleeting contacts. This passage explains that they come and go. They are essentially just the weather of human experience. The goal is to develop a mental habit of tolerating these extremes. You train your mind to stand in the middle of a torrential downpour or a brutal heat wave without losing your internal balance. In practice, this means treating supposed opposites as exactly the same thing. You process a massive, celebrated victory with the exact same mental steadiness as a crushing public defeat. Achieving this state gives you your freedom back. When you stop letting every passing storm of praise or criticism push you around, you regain the power to step forward. Let's bring this back to Arjuna on the battlefield. Even if he understands that souls are eternal and his feelings are just passing weather, he still has a physical war in front of him. He still has to decide what to do with his weapons. Krishna's advice is incredibly direct. You have to fulfill the duty placed in front of you right now. For Arjuna, in this exact moment in time, his duty is to fight a war that is morally necessary. This page highlights a concept called Karma Yoga. It's essentially a strategy for doing your work without letting your ego get in the way. This next verse clarifies exactly what that looks like. It describes a path of disinterested action. You act with absolute, single-minded focus on doing the right thing, but you completely abandon any attachment to the results. Think about the relief in that mindset. If you completely stop obsessing over, whether you will get the promotion, or win the gold medal, or receive the praise, your anxiety loses its fuel. The fear of failure vanishes because the outcome is no longer the point. By focusing purely on the action itself, you break the paralysis. You can step onto whatever battlefield life has placed in front of you, pick up your tools, and simply do the work.